Welcome to Reuters Events Pharma USA 2025. With me this afternoon I have Maria Whitman at ZS, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about barrier-led engagement. Maria, just tell us what that is and how it works. Explain your vision of barrier-led engagement.
Thanks, Jonathan, and thanks for having me. Absolutely. So first of all, let me step back for 1 second. Last year at Reuters, we introduced a concept of changing the commercial model for pharma. See, right now we have a very interruption, bombard our stakeholders with our message model, and it's worked really well for us. But the reality is we're up to about 3.5 thousand touch points a year to the top 25 doctors as an industry. And so we're interacting with them, but we're not listening. We're sharing, but we're not solving their problems. So the vision we set out was behavior changing, personalized engagement at scale. Behavior changing because why do we interact in the first place? We interact in order to create some kind of response. And in the case of biopharma, what we're really trying to do is move our customers further in their journey against the problems that they're facing. So what we found in this last year of working with biopharma, though, was that this vision is very, very complicated. It's hard to accomplish. We collect all this context and information about customers, but to what end? And so barriers-driven engagement is the answer to that to what end. When I understand you, Jonathan, and what drives you, it's not just about what you do. It's not the actions or the way you engage with my emails. It's about who you are. It's about your experiences. It's about your surrounding, your colleagues, how they influence your life. Well, if we can understand your context and we can understand the barriers that prevent you from making the right decision for your patients, then we can actually form a strategy around those barriers that our entire organization can point to and can solve together. That eliminates our coordination challenges, that helps us all lean into a common objective of solving a problem for our customer, and that allows us to be much more efficient and effective in the pharma commercial model. If we can achieve barriers-led engagement, Jonathan, I think we can drive about a 10 to 12 to 15% upside, and we can probably reduce a good portion of the wasted time in field of our people today. We estimate driving a 10 to 15% bottom line savings.
Wow, that's fascinating. Just tell me a little bit more about you advocate for a customer-first CRM approach. Can you just unpack that for us? What do you mean by that?
So customer-first CRM. So this is an important moment in the industry right now, Jonathan. You know, most of our clients are out there making a decision about what technology they're going to use in their CRM. But the problem is, to date, the CRM has been part of our infrastructure. It's a system of record. And what we need it to be is actually a way to change how our business process works, change the workflow. So if you think about it, if we're trying to create a barriers-led engagement model, what we want to be doing is structuring everything we do around how our customers are behaving, around our longitudinal journey with them. So if we stop thinking of it as a system of record, a system where we record interaction, a system where we just manage information and data, and we think about it in three parts as an ecosystem. Part one is a system of context, where I'm gathering all my information about you, I'm surfacing the barriers, I'm gaining real-time information, and then I pass that over to a system of intelligence. That system of intelligence says, okay, well, what workflow do I trigger? Which role is most important to solve that customer's barriers? How do other roles interact with this? And then a system of activation where rubber meets the road, where we can create, using agentic tools, customer-grade experience for our end users, who are our field personnel, and deep, rich engagements with our customers. This is what a customer-first CRM. It's one that actually makes our way of working easier. You have a smartphone right here in front of you, right? Do you even remember a time when we didn't have a touch screen?
No.
No, right? It's part of your way of working now. If we create a customer-first CRM, I suspect that our process of working will be much smoother, and it will enable us all to work together.
Your presentation highlighted that navigating the healthcare system is becoming as critical as understanding how a drug works. Could you just give us a real-world example of how customer-first CRM can address these how-to-buy-a-drug barriers?
Yeah, so first of all, let me tell you that this is the thing that fuels me every day in my career, Jonathan. In the US alone, 44% of Americans don't even engage with the healthcare system till they're already sick. Okay, we have a lot of problems to solve, but the last thing we want to happen is for a customer who actually is in front of a patient, I'm using the HCP in this example, in front of a patient, not being able to do the thing they think is best for their patient. So if you look at the total sum of barriers, we've mapped out 180 that exist in pharma today. Some of them are about why to buy my product, but actually an increasing number of them are about how to buy my product. And pharma's not prepared for that. All of our content, all of our solutions are more about why choose me. But a real world example is, a physician wants to write a myeloma product for their patient, but it's not on order set, or it's not far enough down in the EMR that they can access it without triggering some sort of a review. And so that's not a sales rep that can come in and fix that. That requires a CAM to go talk to the right committee in the organization. It requires some influence from the evidence organization as to why it should be placed a certain part in the EMR. I was just talking to a client now who's going to launch their drug this year that has a side effect that requires a specialist to also weigh in on the decision. The coordination of that doctor getting to that specialist is something that they'll need to provide an independent solution for. If we were not thinking about barriers in the right way and we were not coordinating through the CRM or through the enabled technologies, then it goes off and we have to wait till we see a claim come through to know that it happened for our patients. And most of the time, it doesn't happen. So I think these are why we have to have these coordinated approaches.
You mentioned a framework of 5 key questions
Yeah.
To overcome customer barriers. Just talk us through those questions and explain how they reorient a company's go-to market strategy.
So we think it's so hard to figure out coordination and to engage, right? But if you align on a barrier, you have a strategy. My job is to overcome this thing that's in front of Jonathan right now. The 5 questions are the most simple framework you possibly could have to reorient how. What is your play to go after that strategy? What is the customer goal? What is the best role or channel that is suited to achieve that customer goal? What should they know? What can they use? And who can they tell? So very briefly, what that means is we have our customer goal. That is our barrier, right? Which role or which channel? Guess what? We have tons of engagement statistics. We know what channels do what effectively. So let's point based on that goal. If it's the CAM goal I was just talking about, then we point the CAM at it first. Maybe the sales rep takes a secondary role. Maybe there's an evidence generation peer-to-peer that'll help sell that through. But we know what the role is. Then for each role, maybe they're primary, maybe they're secondary. We say, what can they use? One of the challenges today is there is so much information. We're gathering so much context about our customers. But if we know we're after a specific goal, a specific strategy, what can we use becomes easy. The AI can surface up the right insights using agentic tools to say, for this goal, this is what you need to know about Jonathan in order to make it happen. What can they use? Well, guess what? It's not just about the person, it's not just about the conversation, it's about the content, it's about the evidence. Today, of that 180 barriers, only 50% have evidence behind them, have content that's been created by the marketers, by the teams that can be used. So this gives us a chance to say, do we have the right content, marketing team, headquarters team, and for the person who's the primary, the CAM, the rep, the MSL, the FRM, what do I have? Do I have a leave behind? Do I have a fact sheet? What can I bring to support that conversation, to move that customer along the barrier? And lastly, Jonathan, who can I tell? At the end of the day, first-party understanding of our customers is the most important, and we need to be collecting that feedback so that we can tell the next person in line to help Jonathan overcome his barrier. What happened? What new information did we learn? Are we actually past that barrier and we're on to the next one? So who can I tell is about bringing that information back and compliantly sharing it across the organization so that we can all show up as one entity to our customer.
Fantastic. Maria Whitman at ZS, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today.
Nice
It's been
to meet
very, very
you.
interesting.
Thank you. Take care.